sharing in this honors experience with us. My name is Professor Smith. I am proud to say that my students did a phenomenal job this semester. And so we're excited to just share a little bit of, the different experiences and things that we explored during the semester in connection to hip hop. So hip hop is something it's very dear to me as an educator and as an artist. So it was really an honor just experiencing teaching a course like this, and really fun as well. So here we are for the Honors Conference event. The name of this course is HN 24572 Hip Hop, Origins, Culture, and Soul. And what you're going to see and experience is basically a student reflection and a sharing on their particular experience with hip hop in this course. So just a very quick overview. Throughout the semester, students explored a variety of information in connection to hip hop. Although we discussed and learned about different aspects of the culture, there was a conscious focus on the 5 elements. Okay, so in hip hop, there's a focus on 5 elements or 5 main components. So you have what's known as MCing, also spelled with the capital letter capital M, capital C, also spelled the way that you see it here on the screen. So MCing, which is more or less focusing on the vocalist, the person with the mic. Then you have b-boying, also known now as b-girling, which is more inclusive as it modernized in connection to the dancing, also known as breaking, but originally was more known as just b-boying. Some people still refer to it as that, but again, as it's modernized and as hip hop has grown as a culture, people have started to really examine the way that certain text and language is used. And so women are just as much a part of this culture, if not there from the inception, which is something we learned as well as we spoke about, hip hop and the root origin of this art form and culture. So we have graffiti as well, which is the visual arts portion, and then we have DJing, also known as turntablism, and then knowledge of self, which many people don't realize that that's also an element. That's an element of hip hop. If anything, that's really the root of hip hop, which is really just connecting to an idea of self-awareness. So today the students will share projects they created in connection to the course that illustrate how they were all inspired personally, educationally, and creatively. So we touched upon a couple of things. Obviously, we have a short period of time, so we just extracted some of our favorite components or favorite projects. And the first couple of students that are going to present, their project was connected to an assignment directly related to graffiti. So in a very general context, graffiti, it's an art form that refers to images or text painted usually onto buildings, typically using spray paint. Graffiti is a form of visual communication and expression. So that brings us to our fantastic student, Tashawn McLean. He's going to talk a little bit about his experience with the interpretation of this assignment in which they had to create a graffiti artwork, either focusing on their name or a word that was significant to them. And I'll leave it for Tashawn to take over and speak about his particular piece. Tashawn, are you able to access the mic?
Hello, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now,
Okay.
Tashawn. Hi.
How you guys doing today? My name is Tayshawn McLean. So this is my project. My project is Tayshawn. So as I was thinking about the process of me starting this project, I wanted to kind of focus on something that would represent me and my personality. So at first, the style I went with bubble letters. You can see I put a shadow behind it, and then there's on top there's a sun, and then there's other hidden meanings behind the artwork in it too. There's also shading in between the letters. Um, yeah, so I didn't go with any coloring, only went with black black and white to show that it's really like pure. Um, I put an I in the A just to show that well, I kind of did it so like the third eye kind of like I don't know, but kind of just kind of like something that to show that it's like I think different, I guess. I put the arrow pointing up with the fire coming out under the A, the point that you're always supposed to go up and stuff like that. So in the reflection, I put the artwork that this is like everything creatively about like my personality. If I can make anything, this is just what I could think of. Um, yeah, but as I think about it, after like I did everything, I would have colored it definitely. Probably would have made it like sometimes like more better, but it's good though. I think it captured my whole personality and everything. And that's it. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll just briefly read Tashawn's reflection, and thank you so much, Tashawn. I thought you did a phenomenal job on this. And oftentimes with graph writers, aka graffiti writers, and any artist really, their first stage is always in that sketchbook or traditionally in the sketchbook. So this, even though it's on that lined paper, it really had that feeling of capturing what the concept was. And that's what graffiti artists do. Traditionally, they'll write, draw in their sketchbook and then take that and translate it onto, a building or side of the wall, or now really also paintings. So he says, throughout the creation of this beautiful masterpiece, my thought process was the whole time was, what if I actually was doing this like outside? I kept thinking, what type of character does this piece of art represent? This art piece is my creativity in written form. I thought that was really powerful. The artwork has parts that represents the coloring, styling, and accents. For the styling design, the block letters are used to represent a strong and bold personality. As he mentioned, the shading, the shadows, and the sun represent the good, bad, and everything in between in life. So I really love the symbolism here, Tashawn. And then lastly, the eye shows that I am thoughtful, while the arrow and the flames from the second A represent that I'm always going up in life. So I thought it was important not only for the students to do their actual drawing and visual representation, but also their reflection was just as important so that we can see as the viewer get a little bit of into a scope of the artist mind and the creative process. And Tayshawn has a lot of that with the symbolism. So thank you so much, Tayshawn. And then we're going to transition to Pamela. Pamela also responded and created her own interpretation with her piece, which I'll let her share and talk more about.
Hi, everybody. Thank
Hi,
you. So my creation, I did one word, which is optimistic, because that's overall describes me. And then I did like little words that like make up this one big word. So for the O, I put original and observant. P, patient. T, trustworthy. I, introvert. M, motherly. I, intelligent. S, spontaneous. T, tall. I'm 5'7". I, independent, and C, compassionate. So I don't know how to really draw, so I don't know how to draw birds. So I love listening to the bird sounds and all that. I love music. Love taking in the sun, the vitamin D on my skin. The clouds, sometimes we all have that gray moment in our lives, but you gotta push through. I love flowers, smelling them, the grass, all that. So my reflection, this creative process made me feel warm inside and happy when I was searching for the appropriate word that describes me. My artwork connects to hip hop because my lettering is inspired by the different graffiti designs with a twist of my own pizzazz. As I was drawing, I felt like I could probably be a good graffiti artist and spread love around my neighborhood. My artwork represents a sense of identity for me because it describes who I am and what defines me as a unique individual. I am the most optimistic person anyone would meet. Even when times get gray and dark, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, which makes the sun come out. Everything about me makes up the optimism I show daily. I outline the word optimistic with brown because that's the color of my skin, which is the protector of my body structures. I love all genres of music from all decades. I am a nature loving kind of gal. All living things grab my attention like unique birds and their calming sounds when they communicate with each other. I appreciate all aspects of life on this earth. It feeds my love even more with like pouring oil on a fire instead of water. Thank you.
Great job, Pamela. Excellent. So Pamela is definitely our optimist for sure. So it's no surprise that she chose this word. Every time we come into the class, she's like, "Good afternoon, beautiful people." So she's ready for the world, and her attitude and her colorfulness and her colorful spirit really translates not just in the way she comes in and enters the classroom, but obviously in this piece as well. So thank you for sharing this, Pamela, and it was spot on with your personality. So we've also had the honor of collaborating with the Universal Hip Hop Museum and the Hip Hop Education Center, which is an actual structure located in the Bronx. I've been having, a little bit of a once a week talk with them, and also sharing some of the projects that the students have been working on. And it's been a great experience. They've been also super excited as far as what the students have been doing. So it's been a great relationship that's forged between Monroe College, the students, this course, and the actual Hip Hop Museum, which is just a phenomenal structure. Is there a question? Because I can only see what's on the screen, but feel free to use your mic if anyone had a question or a thought. Okay, I'm not sure if someone did that in error. If not, I'm here if someone had a question or a comment. So the students created a hip hop timeline, which was inspired by the relationship with the Universal Hip Hop Museum. So in the very beginning of the course, students were asked to go to the Universal Hip Hop Museum online and take a look at their educational timeline, which basically dates back to the 1960s, as a matter of fact, and has different specific occurrences, people, events that is a direct link to hip hop and or the influence of hip hop. So the students in this course, they really went and had a solid understanding of the origins of hip hop and who were involved in in making this culture emerge, really, and keeping it going. And so I wanted the students to create their own hip hop timeline, which they did for their midterm. And it was more or less their interpretation of hip hop, their relationship to it, but connecting that aspect of time. So you'll see how they interpreted it. We have two different students that are sharing their timeline, and they all did a phenomenal job in addition to the two that we'll see now. So the first one that we're going to take a look at is by Tarifa Taylor, and her title is Personal Hip Hop Timeline. So Tarifa, when you're ready, you can use your mic and then you can start speaking and I'll navigate through it for you. Is Tarifa in the room? Can someone let me know? I know Pamela, you're usually my go-to for that. Is Tarifa here? If not, then I can just go through the slides and just share it with everyone briefly if she is not in the room at the moment.
She's here, but we just can't hear her.
Oh, okay. That's odd. Okay, I think what I'll do, let me share, I will start to share it with you all. And Tarifa, if you're able to get your microphone working, then just feel free to start talking and cut me off and continue to speak and share it. But I really do want to share what Tarifa did. She did a great job. Hopefully the tech aspect on her end, we can get that going with the microphone. I do apologize. So this is Tarifa's PowerPoint. She says, my name is Tarifa Taylor. I was born on October 9th, 2000 in the parish of St. Catherine on the Caribbean island known as Jamaica. August 2001, a tragic accident occurred which took the life of my 28-year-old father, Desmond Taylor. Both my parents were lovers of music, whether music of their time or ahead of their time. Although both parents loved music, my father was the one that was more in tune with hip hop and the lifestyle that was being introduced to the public in the late 90s and early 2000s. It was through my mother that I learned about my father's love for the hip hop culture, which has taught me more than I could have ever imagined. So just prepare yourself. This is a really beautiful interpretation of her relationship between hip hop and her connection to her dad. It's really touching. So when my father passed away, I was only 10 months old. My mother and family members would be the ones to paint the picture of who he was for me. After asking questions, one thing that stood out the most was his love for music and being current. I learned from my mother that he loved listening to Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur. Learning about my father made me more interested in hip hop. I suddenly gravitated towards their music because it made me feel closer to him and showed me what he found interesting. So, as we talked about hip hop, it wasn't just the aspect of the music, it was also fashion and other elements, as we mentioned, that are connected. So, Tarifa also mentions the idea of fashion. In the late 90s and early 2000s, wearing oversized clothes and Timberland boots with gold jewelry was a classic hip hop statement. It mirrored the way that my father would carry himself, much like the people he would listen to. Darnell Bolt. Growing up, I would stay at my grandmother's house where my cousin Darnell and his twin sister Janelle lived. They were 9 years older than me, so most of the time I saw them doing things that I would also try and do the same to be like them. When I was 6, we got cable on the TV and they would watch BT 106 in Park. After school, I would be very excited to go home and watch it and learn new songs and see what was trending. Whilst learning about my father, this taught me about old school hip hop. Darnell also exposed me to what was the new form of hip hop, which were artists like Soulja Boy and Bow Wow. Growing up, I am now 20 years old, and hip hop has opened my eyes to many social and political issues, whether with Black people or with other races. It was once a genre that I thought was solely focused on dancing and having fun, but then as I got older, I understood that there were different problems and victories that occurred around me in connection to hip hop. So it has allowed me to listen to new genres like neo soul, soul, and the blues, which has unlocked a deeper side to music and the culture of hip hop. So that was Tarifa's take on hip hop, which I thought was just really beautiful in showing how it also deals with relationships. It's not just about listening to music, but she approached it from a very personal standpoint, which I thought was both brave to show and vulnerable, but also very beautiful. So thank you, Tarifa, for that. My journey with hip hop. So next we have another PowerPoint presentation by Swayzine Grant. Swayzine, can you chime in with your mic and share this with us, please?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Let me know when you're.
Okay, the camera works.
That's fine. As long as you have your mic right now, if you're having problems with that, that's fine.
Okay, so this is my journey with hip hop. So for mine, I decided to focus on looking at different grade levels because I was born in Jamaica also, and I really grew up around reggae music and gospel. So my love for hip hop didn't really grow until I migrated to the US. In my 6th to 8th grade year, I was basically accessing music through YouTube, and I was hanging out with a lot of older folks because I didn't make friends as of yet. So I listened to mostly like Tupac, Notorious B.I.G., 50 Cent, Nelly, NWA, and that's where I started, and I really enjoyed the like upbeat, and the lyrics were very nice. In my freshman year of high school, I started looking at different music platforms such as SoundCloud, and I also was listening to more of artists that were hip hop and basically R&B. I was listening to like artists Alcina, Drake, The Weeknd, Trey Songz a lot, Chris Brown. I was also my peer group, being a freshman and, adjusting to high school life, as well as using social media. And if I was on a train and dancers had like a music mashup, I would kind of like look for the songs. Also, in my sophomore year, I was still using SoundCloud, but I also was listening to other artists. At this time, people like Bryson Tiller, Tory Lanez, Fetty Wap, they came out, and I was a big Fetty Wap fan at this time. I even used the 1738 as my password. I was kind of like into it all. I also was listening to a lot of dance music, and I was basically dance music like the Nene, D-Lo Shuffle. That was really popular in high school at the time, so everybody was doing it. And I had migrated to Harlem, which I fell in love with that culture altogether. In my junior year, I became more religious. I always grew up with a religious background, but it was my journey. I was baptized again, and I was studying in church and stuff, so I had to take out a lot of music from my daily lifestyle. So I had re-devoted to listening to more gospel, but I was still kind of on the fence with music because I love all genres. So I started listening to music that had more of a message, a more positive message or informative message. So I listened to J. Cole more, Kendrick Lamar, and people along that line. Also, I took a college course at Hostels, which was African American Studies. Opened my eyes so much that I kind of wasn't with any of the trap music anymore or the, violence. Next. In my senior year, I was still listening to J. Cole, and I was connecting more to the older people that I used to listen to and still listen with my religious journey. So I still was kind of filtering out stuff. And I felt like my mentality has changed drastically at that time. So I was really focused on specific things. Also, I was using different music platforms like Spotify now. So that opened up more opportunities to listen to music. And in my college years, I tried to focus for this presentation my sophomore. I was listening to a lot of jazz music. I always loved jazz and instrumentals, but being in Harlem too and seeing the artwork that focused on this and vendors who were selling artwork, I kind of started listening to it more. And poetry clubs in Harlem too, I kind of aligned myself with jazz music for therapy and just if I'm studying and just if I wanted to just feel kind of calm. And then I was using more platforms because I had Amazon Music, Spotify, I was using YouTube, I was using so many different platforms to just stream different types of music. And that is my presentation.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Swayzine. I appreciate it. You did a really great job on this as well. A lot of hard work and dedication, as you can tell, that went into this. What I really love is not just the sharing about the different artists who Swayzine listened to during the time frame, but also how she was accessing music, which is really important in that conversation. How do you find these artists? Are you listening to them on the radio? Are you listening to them, as you mentioned, YouTube, and then it grew into Spotify and then Amazon Music. So that's another important key element is how do you access this music? Where do you find it? So I love how she also shares that within the journey and the evolution as well. So thank you, Swayzine. Great job. So this also brings us, this brings us rather to the next element, which is the element of the MC. So students created lyrics and poems inspired by their favorite MC/song. So we have two different assignments that we've shared, both in connection. Well, actually, this one really focuses on the MC, and then we'll get to what the last one focuses on, although they all interpreted it through lyrics and or poems. Okay, so now we have Nyla Peters. This particular assignment, they had to select a favorite MC of theirs and then choose one of their songs They had to tell us a little bit about the MC, give us a little background, and then they had to also include the song lyrics and analyze the song lyrics as a second portion. And then the third portion, they had to reinterpret the song. So they had to create their own version of the song using the same theme or concept or idea, but they had to interpret it with their words in their creative expression of how they would approach it. And so this brings us to Nyla Peters.
Thank you, Professor. All right. So for this assignment, I chose to write about Lil Wayne. He's my favorite artist. The song I chose to analyze was "Mirror on the Wall." It's basically about he raps about feeling misunderstood and he feels that nobody truly understands him. So for my first verse, I say it's a poem. So I say, I know you hate looking in the mirror, 'cause when you do, you see the truth clearer. Fake smiling just to cover up a crooked tooth, thinking all your problems disappear when you get in the booth. They could never feel the pain you feel inside. You disguise the truth so well with the lies. If only they knew it's a facade, 'cause the real ain't nothing nice. I don't want to be awake, so I sleep day and night. Dang, I really hate looking at and that transitions into the chorus. Mirror on the wall, here we are again. Through my rise and fall, you've been my only friend. You told me that they can understand the man I am. So why are we here talking to each other again? They say you changed, you're not the same, but you still see the same face and hear the same name. I always say, if you could tell them the truth, tell it to them straight. As my light is burning out, my love is turning into hate. You had your chance, but now it's too late. You left my heart scarred, so my soul put up a gate. When I was down and out, no one held me down. I was all alone, going through a drought. I hope no one comes around when my seed begins to sprout. This ain't no cry for help. I ain't trying to pout. I'm just seeing things clearer. It's just me talking to the mirror on the wall. Here we are again, through my rise and fall. You've been my only friend. You told me that they can understand the man I am. So why are we here talking to each other again? You know, and the chorus is actually meant to be sung. Bruno Mars sung it, but you know, if I could sing, I would sing it. Yeah.
You did a great job, Nyla. Thank you so much. You did a great job. And Nyla is a secret MC. She actually is an MC. So she's just giving us this version to warm up. The next one, she'll have the microphone and the beat and everything. Thank you, Nyla. You did a great job. You did a great job. It's not easy to reinterpret someone's song and yet make it your own. So they did a fantastic job. Super proud of you. Good job. Okay, so next we have Shariah, and Shariah is going to share her project and how she interpreted her song as well and tell us a little bit about that experience. Go ahead, Shariah.
Okay, so good afternoon, class. My name is Shreya Chaudhary, and today I'm presenting my favorite MC interpretation poem. I made a poem instead of a song. And my favorite MC is Eminem. His song was called Not Afraid. He made this song because, you know, Eminem was a drug addict, so he made this as a recovery. So, my song is called I'm Not Afraid. Why be afraid of this place when you can take a stand at another? Some may still be here, but I'll follow the light out and get out of there. I'ma do this for me. I said what I said and I'll do it. I don't care what you think, I'm leaving, and don't you dare blink. It's hard to figure this crap out. The dark clouds will come around, but don't you dare give up now. You'll make it out. I promise my mama I won't go back there no more. My mind is on making the next dollar. They keep doubting me, wishing bad on me. Middle fingers to my haters. Don't you ever look down on me. As long as she's proud of me, I don't care who's doubting me. A promise is a promise. I won't go back there. No matter the weather, I'ma get better and better. I'm not afraid.
Thank you, Shariah. So Shariah, you know, came with a strong voice, I just love the way that it ended with the "I'm not afraid." And oftentimes, even today, talking about the presentation, some of the students were a little bit nervous. And I said, you guys are fine, nothing to be afraid of. You've done the work. And so let's go ahead and share what it is that you guys have created. So thank you for not being afraid to share and inspire others, I'm sure, today with your voice, which was very strong in this particular piece. So great job, Shariah. All right. Oh, we have one more. Okay, so then we have Tanisha. Tanisha, you can talk about your favorite MC and your song interpretation / poem. Go ahead.
Hi,
Is
good
that something?
afternoon, class.
Oh, hi, Tanisha. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were able to get in. Good.
Yes, hi.
Good afternoon.
The MC I chose to analyze and talk about was Meek Mill, and the song I chose by him was Dreams and Nightmares, which is a really popular song. And in the song, he talks about basically how living his best dreams and his worst nightmares really is what made him who he is and how he strived because of it. So I used that message to create this really short poem. It's only 2 stanzas, but here it goes. I used to pray for times like this, just to wake up and grind and smell the sunshine. I've always dreamed of this bliss. Like Alice in Wonderland, I play with my demons. My dreams and nightmares motivate me. I feel the sun upon my skin and evolve into what I could be. My dreams and nightmares, they motivate me. The end.
Beautiful. So just because it's short doesn't mean it isn't sweet. So this is a really effective poem too. And when Tanisha originally read this, I was taken by the Alice in Wonderland, I play with my demons, and just the contrast of that. When you think of Alice in Wonderland, you tend to think of something really the fairy tale and bubbly and light, and then combining it with something like I play with my demons, it was just a really interesting contrast. So short, yes, but still extremely effective. A lot of beautiful imagery in this piece. So well done. Well done, Tanisha. And so that brings us to our last section, which is called Knowledge of Self. And again, knowledge of self is really connected to this idea of self-awareness and knowing who you are as a person and therefore as an artist. And so in the course, we learned how important it was, this concept or idea of knowledge of self. And the better you explore and learn and spend the time to know who you are as a person, the more it's going to translate into your craft, into your art form, and into therefore this culture, which is hip hop. And so this says hip is the knowledge and hop is the movement. And hip hop is definitely about knowledge and certainly a movement, a strong one at that. And so that was a quote by KRS-One, one of the founders for sure of hip hop. And so these last 2 pieces, or 3 pieces rather, are by students who basically took this concept of knowledge of self and created a creative artwork based in this idea of who they are and their interpretation of what knowledge of self means to them from a creative light or creative standpoint. So now we have Janae, who has a poem to share with us.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay. Okay. In star mode, that's star mode.
I had to find a quiet spot. Okay.
Okay.
You guys can see? No, not yet. Yes. I'm on the stairs to my room.
The beauty of our virtual space, but the students have been all really wonderful.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. We understand. We understand. Okay, go ahead. It's your time.
It's the worst day. Okay. So, self-knowledge to me is growing as a person, which isn't a slow or easy process. So I wrote this poem like as a comedic relief, but it still has some takeaway to it. Since I'm gonna begin. Okay. I'm still learning self-knowledge. I know I'm the bombest, but sometimes I act stupid like I'm the blondest. But let's be honest. I'm only 21 and I'm supposed to know knowledge of self. I can't talk right now. I'm focused on generational wealth. I see a problem and I run, but I never did track. All I'm trying to do is learn and fall back.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Janaea. I love the idea of this idea that knowledge of self is still something that you're exploring and learning. And that line, I'm only 21 and supposed to know knowledge of self, like there's still so much more to learn. So honest and transparent and effective for that reason. Thank you, Janaea. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to another knowledge of self piece, which was done by Mamadou.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mamadou. Hello.
Hi. Let me see if I can
Hi.
share the video.
Okay.
All right, I think I shared it. Y'all can see me, right?
We can certainly hear you.
All right, can y'all see me?
I'm not sure, Mamadou,
Yes, we
because I
can see
see
you, Mamadou.
Okay, we're good.
All right.
Yes,
Okay,
confirmation from Ms. McDonald. Yes,
all right.
you're good to go.
So this is a poem about knowledge of self. Like Miss Smith, Prophet Smith said, she said knowledge of self is basically knowing who you are and your background. And for me, this is what I wrote. I said knowledge of self. So I asked myself a question: who am I? I am my mom and dad. I am a land far away. I am curious. I am mysterious, sometimes serious. I am golden diamond, luxurious. I am history. I am my own story. I am an outcast. I never fit in, but I outlast. I am someone with a task. I take up with a blast. All I need is a spark. I'm a descendant of pain, people with chains. I am freedom and hope still tied on the rope. I am two sides of the same coin. I am the past and future. I am a picture on a scripture very structured. I am ancient knowledge. I am kings and queens. I am loyalty. I am royalty. I am the earth and sky. I am the falling rain. I am the trees and the air that I breathe. I am the light and in the night I am the stars shining bright. I am a human. I am a beacon of hope. I am Mamadou Diallo and this is who I be. I am knowledge of self and nothing else. And that will be all.
Excellent, Mamadou. Excellent. So, Mamadou is also a serious MC, as you can tell from this creative share. You hear the rhyme scheme, you hear the melody, you hear that sense of cadence that he has in there. And anytime he had an assignment like this that was connected to writing something creative, he certainly always took it very serious and interpreted something like of this level. So shout out to Mamadou, great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Continue to write, continue to do that outside of this class.
Right.
And so, thank you, Mamadou. And so that brings us to Emily, who's going to bring it home strong for the team, who also created a piece connected to the knowledge of self assignment. And I'll let her take it away.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so to give you guys a little background of what knowledge of self means and its connection to hip hop. So knowledge of self means knowing or learning something through an educational process or your own personal experience. And its connection to hip hop is the way it portrays the hip hop community through an artist's lyrics and being able to, and for the audience to understand the meaning behind it. And through this knowledge of self, I was able to come up with this little piece that I wrote. So the title is It's I Don't Know. And here we go. I am a butterfly with no effect. As time passes by, I still don't know who I am. I just live and learn. My family makes me. They secure me with their hearts and souls. Too much protection, too much love. Maybe that is the reason why I don't know who I am. Can't seem to fall asleep at night. My thoughts always get the best of me. Be anxious, be afraid, but of what? I love myself, yet I cannot figure it out the missing piece. My life is just one big puzzle, and as long as I breathe, I will find my missing piece. Who am I? And that is all for our honors presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, I will pass it on to Professor Smith. Thank you.
We love the professionalism, not just a beautiful poem, but look how she wrapped it up. I didn't even have to say anything. Thank you, Emily. What a fantastic job. And all of these students are still learning who they are, but clearly they have a solid start. They've done so much beautiful work. That is our presentation. And I'm just really excited to have shared this with everyone. Thank you for coming in and getting a chance to see what we've been working on all of these months, weeks and months, really.
Yeah, I want to just say I want to congratulate the group. It was a great collection of creativity, from artwork to poetry to interpretations. I really enjoyed it. And I'm very, very, very serious that some of y'all need to be thinking about submitting your creative pieces to the undergraduate journal that I was posting in the chat. So there's an undergraduate journal. The call for submissions is open until the end of May. So, you know, the poetry, the artwork, we could even find a way to probably do something with the interpretations to, you know, have you guys submit. Because again, the work that you did here should be able to shine on. That's the tagline for the journal. And I'm the editor of the journal. So I wouldn't review your work, but damn, I want you guys to get in on it. So,
And they did. You see how they did an amazing job, right?
You guys really did. I'm really, really impressed. And, you know, a lot of homage has to be paid to your professor. So give your professor a big round of applause in the chat, because she, you know, without her encouragement and motivation, I don't think you guys would have pushed yourselves to these creative limits. So thank you so much, Professor Smith. And we have a couple minutes. I mean, I know that you guys are still in session. There's another, in this room, we have another Honors Week presentation starting around 4 o'clock. So we have about just a few more minutes to kind of spare if anyone has questions or anything. But I'm going to stop the recording here for the purposes of posterity and the